Hi, I'm Sean,
I'm Rhonda.
and we want to look at talking about the family habits and traditions that we pass on.
So we want to pass our faith along for sure. We want to share our testimony, times when God has delivered us, healed us, done miracles for us. Think about all of the things we pass on, and let's start there. Let's look at sharing our testimony with our children. We can take it for granted that they know these things.
Yeah, and that can make a powerful impact in their lives. When you look at Psalm chapter 78, he says, "We will not hide them from their children, showing to the generation to come the praises of the Lord and his strength and his wonderful works that he has done."
Psalm 145:4, one generation shall praise thy works to another, and shall declare thy mighty acts.
And again in Deuteronomy chapter 6, he says, "You shall teach them diligently to your children, and talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up."
A good conversation to have is, what are we doing to pass our faith along in relationship with God to our children? We want to think about how can we pass along identity and belonging. Modeling for them unconditional love and acceptance, avoiding control and abuse, and showing them who they are in Jesus and who he is to them. They belong in the family, and what that sense of belonging feels like and how we can create that for them. We can ask them questions even to see what that would mean to them.
Knowing the history of your family and being able to talk about and share goals, dreams, and visions that you have.
There are things that shape us in our family history, our family of origin, our relationship with our spouse. We can share these things with our children, and we can also talk with them about their own experience and see, how are you defining yourself and others? How might I have defined myself and others by events that have happened to me in my past? And we can help turn the shaping and defining of who they are toward a positive direction to align with what God says. But we also have our dreams and our goals, don't we? And so talking about our children's dreams, what do they dream about? What's important to them?
God's deposited something special in each one of us, and being able to acknowledge that, to celebrate that, and help make that person flourish is really all part of talking about their dreams.
How do they want to develop to thrive? And going into the mind of a child, the heart of a spouse, to find out, what does a thriving individual look like? And passing on the importance of knowing how to thrive in different types of environments. Because we go through those roller coaster rides in life. And we want to be able to develop ourselves to handle those well, the highs and the lows that we go through.
So we want to make a time to be able to connect and to hear the heart of our family members, and being able to be in touch and stay connected with them.
How else are they going to figure out how to connect with others, how to have a healthy relationship, except via what we model? And that has such an impact on their adult relationships, because what we do in the family, they do it day in and day out, day in and day out, and it has such an influence on them. One of the things we can do is we can share meals together. This is something we would like to see our children do in their families. Well, guess what? It starts with this family right now.
Yeah, that's a real easy way to make a connection. This would mean not being on your electronic device, but you're sitting there sharing the meal together, looking at each other, talking to each other about events of the day and what's going on with them.
Modeling and instructing about focus, attention, eye contact, smiles, choosing a positive perspective in a difficult moment rather than a negative one. Modeling these things and talking about these things with our children to pass that into their adulthood for them.
Being able to share activities together, maybe playing a game together, things that you do together that kind of establish this is who we are as a family.
Be creative. talk with them. What are some ideas? Maybe you like walking in a park or going for hikes or picnics or game night. Be creative, discuss, because sometimes we don't talk about these things. Why don't we talk about these things? We just let them slip by because life gets so busy, but we need to slow down in that moment and pass along not only the shared activities and enjoying life together, but also the idea of thinking through what activities might I share with people who are close to me in life.
And that creates a sense of belonging that, I belong to this family, or I'm on this team. I belong here. I'm an important part of the family.
What about holidays, birthdays, other events, moments to celebrate? Do we slow down and really celebrate, or goodness, life gets so busy, do we just go through the event? Maybe we're sometimes guilty of going through a birthday or a holiday. Yeah, we celebrated, yay, but our heart wasn't in it. Our children can tell that. We need to slow down to have our heart engaged in the moment so that we're really delighting in our family members and that moment, the creating memories, and they can tell we're present.
We also want to look at developing and modeling good habits in our relationship with God in the way, the character that we display. Are we being polite? Are we being peaceful? Do we have a kind demeanor about ourselves?
In James 3, it talks about what godly wisdom looks like. It's pure, it's gentle, it's approachable. It's basically considerate of the other person in the way I present myself to you and the way I receive you when you present yourself to me.
And we need to have a humility to be able to hear and understand, how am I coming across to the people in my family so I can improve and so I can grow. And that would be a normal thing, to make changes because I need to become a better, display better, being a father, being a husband.
How can we pass on attitudes and heart positioning to our children? Obviously modeling it, but also talking about it in the moments when our children might be challenged to do that well.
There's a lot of ways that we can pass on family traditions and value in our family, and look at and think about what can you do to improve in this area.